Heyo everybody, Haku here with my live reaction for Tower of God, Chapter 641, or Season 3, Episode 224. If, again, you are people who, I figure most of you clicking on the video are actually here for the Tower of God video, but if you're wondering what happened with ORV or Kubera and you haven't been keeping up on Discord or on the community tab with updates, I've been sick. I mean, you heard me in the last week's Tower of God video, so I was sick then. I had started getting sick like last weekend, a little bit earlier than last weekend. So I was like, oh, I'm sick, so I'll start getting better throughout the course of this week. And then by the end of the week, I can just post videos as normal. But that didn't happen. Monday or Tuesday, I didn't have a voice at all. I couldn't talk at all. Wednesday, my voice was coming back, but it was, kind of hoarse, And even now, I probably sound a lot better. I recorded One Piece before this to try to warm up, so I probably sound better now than I did at the beginning of the One Piece video, but yeah, I didn't notice until I started recording because I haven't exactly been trying to talk or anything. I hadn't really noticed. I'm like, okay, yeah, my voice is still pretty not great. And also, I've been coughing a bit. I just had to edit out a cough right there. So if you have a lot of weird jump cuts, it's because I'm editing out whenever I'm coughing or whatever. But either way, I'm not getting to this until like 11:15, so it's pretty late. So it'll probably be pretty late by the time you see this because I'll have to edit it once I'm done reading. But either way, last week's chapter was great. I really, really, really liked it. I think a lot of people did misconstrue some of the things I was saying towards the end where I'm like, I am excited, but I feel like I'm more nervous than excited. That's not to say that anything was bad last week. I thought last week was really fun. I really, really enjoyed it. More what I was saying is when we're getting into like red light district stuff, that stuff we've been going at for hundreds of chapters. And when you get to a topic as big as that, it's kind of like getting into a bomb backstory kind of topic. When you get into a topic that's that big, it's a little make or break in the sense that when you get that reveal, it could be incredible. It could be one of the hugest things, like getting the stuff in Floor of Death about Bomb's backstory. That is like one of the hugest things that, of course, we all still talk about to this day in terms of, breaking down the story and what we know, making theories and things like that. So we could have something huge like that. Or it's also a critical point where you could mess things up. And honestly, with, again, the way that CU has written some of the things this arc, not necessarily the backstory-ish stuff, though I do think the V backstory was weaker than the Amazu backstory. Not really the backstory stuff as much, but when it comes to the present-day stuff, outside of Traumerei and Gastang has been treading its wheels a little bit. Treading its wheels. Is that what I was trying to say? Spinning its wheels? I don't know. A little bit, but generally the character work behind it and how it ties back in to all the things we already know has been very good. But outside of Traumerei and Gastang, the present story has had some rough bits. We have had kind of the off character of Andorthi. We've had the Bomb Kun and Rack stuff, which hasn't been the best. We have the a big one that even a lot of you keep. I saw a comment today, people bringing it up. The branch leader stuff, where the branch leaders just compared to past little, sub arc villains, like the arc people that the good guys, quote unquote, fought against, are really, really not great. They're pretty low quality in terms of that. So just with some of this stuff happening in the present that hasn't been that great, it's like, okay, we're getting to a critical juncture, and I really hope CU doesn't mess it up. But I am excited to see where it goes. I hope we do continue on like we did last week. It was so refreshing, so amazing to finally see like the Hugo and Michelle stuff. I really, even though that was just a small portion of last week's chapter, just seeing stuff like that was so nice. After months of, really months, we have only seen the Bomb versus Dumas stuff, the Traumerei versus Gastang stuff, which has been nice, and then the chapter or two where we mainly focused on like Bellaria and Dorothy, Bomb getting in the mix, Holland, that kind of thing. So You know, we have had months of just that, months of not seeing any of these other characters when there is a lot going on right now. So I hope we get to see more of that lot that's going on. But either way, you know, with that aside, I turned this into a long intro when I didn't want to, I didn't intend to. Let's read chapter 641. We have a violence warning, which we notably didn't have last week, even though Blossom crisped that place. There are so many things. Like, I could go on like a 30-minute Haku intro after all the things we learned last week. I do agree with, I've heard some other people say the same thing, but when we get the story of Blossom, like, burning down this civilization that was one of the most advanced or whatever civilizations that we were in the tower, I was like, okay, people have been bringing up a lot recently since we saw that other stuff with Blossom, that maybe it is in relation to the one blog post story where they're like, oh, she destroyed an entire floor's population, or like 99% of a floor's population by advancing the Shinsu, or like escalating, I'm losing my words, sorry, the Shinsu. This could be the canon interpretation of that, because of course some things from the blog post have been changed when fit into canon. That's what I think, and I've seen a couple other people say the same thing, so I'm like, okay, I'm in agreement. I agree with you. She might have also done that other thing, but maybe not. This might be like a Yama situation where Yama's backstory in the blog post was one thing, but Siyu didn't just tweak it, kind of really flipped it over into something a bit different for the actual manhwa itself. This could be something similar to that, where it's like, that's the blog post description of events, but the actual canon description of events is that she burned down this advanced civilization. That could be what's happening here. This is the canon explanation for that story. But either way, we're starting out with a flashback. Isn't that astounding, Father? Okay, are we continuing? Okay, never mind. Never. I was gonna say, are we continuing with that conversation with N? And then I see fucking Bella here. Okay, I was so off. So we're about to learn a lot more. When I put on the bracelet, I was transported to a massive space. I also want to say the character stuff last week with Gaston was really, really good, where I feel like Gaston got played by himself, played by Traumeré, because of course he is in a position, sorry, I'm carrying on the Haku intro. If you don't want discussion, you may be in the wrong video. But he has this issue with Blossom where it's like, he obviously doesn't want to do anything to harm Blossom. He knows how hard this must be on her. But at the same time, he's like, shit, I'm the judge between the family heads. I gotta do something, right? And then Traumeré comes to him in his time of need and is like, hey, Gaston, I got a plan for you. Why would you listen to them over helping Blossom? How about you try out my plan? And Gaston says himself, he's like, ordinarily I would have never gone along with something like that. He was like, it's a plan I would have ordinarily never gone along with. And then they go to do it, and Traumeré probably genuinely was also like, you know, side quest. He was like, okay, I get to test out my necromancy a bit, and I get to, if he just ran off with those amalgam of souls or whatever, maybe he kept some, for all we know. Maybe he kept them all the ones that he tested on. But he just basically failed what he said he was going to do, and then just dipped. The guy just left. So now Gaston's like, okay, well, I messed up hard. Like, Gaston is in a worse situation than he was in before. So then he is basically manipulated. He's like, crap, I guess I gotta go to Zahard for this. And he says when he does, he's like, you know, I ran away from the pain to Zahard, and this is probably not the first time I've done that. It's probably at least the second, but it could have been a lot of times, and I just kept erasing my memories. So this is something where Gaston's like, crap, I ran away from the pain. This is something I potentially keep doing. And then he's, you know, erasing more memories, saying, I don't need to just erase memories. I need to erase the evidence. Because, like, say, for Blossom's situation, for instance, throw all the evidence you can of that civilization into the red dump. Zahard's terrible naming. I love how I watched like 6 different reactions. Everybody was like, Zahard's so bad at naming things. Just throw all the evidence into the red dump, erase your memories, and then did it happen? Nobody remembers it. There's no evidence of it. But then that comes back to bite Gaston, like we saw again and again. Warren's like, how could you not? And is like, how could you not know this? And it's something important, and because of not knowing this, it ended up going bad for N, which Gaston is still really distraught over, which probably led him down the path he's taking now. So he, I think, got played by Traumeray's manipulation, him once again being the most manipulative family head, sending him to work with Zahard to agree to a plan. Zahard had already proposed this plan, and Gaston had disagreed with it, but now basically he was manipulated into agreeing with it, and now he's also played himself because he's erased all of his memories. So yeah, that was like really, really good character stuff there. Also, timeline wise, we did learn back in Floor of Death when we had all the N stuff that N found out a bunch of information from Arlen's pocket, because a lot of people were like, okay, how would N know this? Would she know it from the pocket? Why would Arlen know this? But when it comes to, this is basically still the Haku intro, when it comes to the flashback, we saw that she got info from the pocket, and then she confronted Zahard over it, and Garam said something along the lines of, surprisingly, to N, Zahard didn't deny all of the stuff that N had learned. Zahard spilled his secrets and was like, oh yeah, and confirmed things. So this could have been this flashback, the conversation we had at the end of last chapter with Gaston and N, could have been right after N got the information, went and confronted Zahard. Zahard's like, oh yeah, I did all this crazy stuff. Then that could have been when she called up Gaston and was like, hey, I can't do this anymore. I can't do this Zahard stuff. I can't be around Lord Zahard. I found out he put himself in the garbage dump. Zahard might have even been trying to win her over by telling her these secrets to get her to, you know, stick with the system. But that could be the timeline of where that conversation there took place. But either way, let's actually read. When I put on the bracelet, I was transported to a massive space. The people who live there have adapted all kinds of ancient, forgotten science and technology to their needs. Maybe this is how they get the artificial Shinwanryu. Since there aren't any pockets, they have their own culture and language, and they're constantly fighting and killing each other. But do you know what's most surprising of all? The rulers there are called Zahard as well. And Zahard putting himself in there could be him splitting off parts of himself, which I think even going back, you can see like my reactions and reviews, my videos on Season 2. My theory for like Wangnan, Karaka, and all them were that they were pieces of Zahard that he split off to climb the tower and then return his power to him. They could also be things about his personality that he split off because he didn't want to have anymore. That could also be a potential thing that is, you know, going on there. Or they could be literal clones. And could be saying Zahard put himself in there because they aren't like children. They aren't like princes of Zahard. Like Wangnan is actually just genetically Zahard. He is just a clone. Same goes for all these others. That could potentially be it. It's a reveal that they are actual clones, not children or anything like that. They're straight up copies, and maybe each of them is manipulated or changed in a different way. That could potentially be the circumstances there. But we had that. There was something else I was going to say, but I got distracted by coughing. Sorry. So this is interesting too. So Belarir is saying that when I put on the bracelet, I go there, but I thought Belarir was originally from there. Also, we have Wangnan's backstory where his mother, supposedly his nanny, whatever, took him from there. And also the thing that I always keep harping on, Karaka said she wasn't just some nanny, which I think makes her so much more important. Who was the guy that came? Is the guy somebody from the Red Light District? Is the guy one of the Zahard clones? Is he like the boss or something that was in the Wangnan flashback? But also I'm gonna say that I am conflating the red dump and the red light district together, and they aren't necessarily going to be one and the same, but I think they are basically one and the same. Because I think that probably they threw all this stuff in there, like they said, dissidents against the Zahard's empire, guides, sorcerers, things like that. They threw them in there, and then I think they probably made their own civilization in there, and that civilization they made in there is the Red Light District, what Bellery is talking about here. So there's probably, the Red Dump is like the space overall, but the Red Light District is probably the civilization, the nation that sprung up within the Red Dump. Again, I'm just trying not to forget things, but I have so many thoughts just spilling around in my head. And like, again, what does that make Bellery? Because Bellery is special somehow. He was able to keep his will even after being taken over by Enkidu. Gaston treats him as somebody special. He is, again, potentially from the Red Light District, but this is adding a new layer to that might be a little confusing. And it's interesting to note, too, that it seems like in last week's chapter, we had it pretty much confirmed to us, some of these characters are not head librarians. It was never mentioned that Kieran or No were. Hugo specifically is not a head librarian. Giscard wasn't a head librarian. So presumably, that means that they are either children of Gaston or grandchildren, great-grandchildren of Gaston. And they could be biological children from some potential wife other than Blossom, or because I think he probably had children with wives other than Blossom. Maybe he didn't. Maybe it is just Blossom and then riding children, and then all of these other children are descendants of the riding children. That's possible. But I kind of think it's more interesting if he has some other biological children, like Bork potentially, for an example. But again, if they're just descendants of the riding children, that's interesting to note too. Because it is a bit unclear, because Tiara says ever since the N incident he hasn't had any biological children. And of course, since the N incident, in the blog post it said that the Pobedao and the Eurasia weren't allowed to marry amongst each other anymore after that. So if we're sticking with things like that, it's like the N incident changed a lot of things. But before that, we don't know. Before that, was he having other biological kids? Before that, was he making other riding children? Because it seems like some of the riding children, are probably pre-N, because if Dumas was a rival to Kelhelm, then I would think that Dumas is probably older than N, but again, what do I know? But I'm just getting way off track. But you know what's most surprising of all? The rulers there are called Zahard as well. The word Zahard means king or leader to them. There are several rulers who call themselves Zahard. They each command their own army and fight each other all the time. But there's one thing they all want in common. They want to escape someday and get revenge. This is interesting. I love this. I actually love this, because this is setting up a completely different culture. And if you release this different culture into the tower, then it's like, oh, for us, Zahard was just the term for a ruler or a leader. Or it could be interesting, they're all Zahard, but the Zahard we have here, maybe his name isn't Zahard. Maybe that's just a term for him, and we still don't know Zahard's real name. Much like, much like we still don't know V's real name, maybe we don't know Zahard's real name yet either. They want to escape someday and get revenge against those who trapped them there ages ago. Very impressive, Father. What? You didn't only incur the resentment of all the people here. You're even the most despised man in another completely forgotten world. And that should hardly surprise you. We're used to being hated by now. Alright. So again, he's not Gaston specifically, but I'm pretty sure Zahard and the 10 family heads are the most despised here and there. Battle between the family leaders, Intruders Part 1. This is exciting. And it's very exciting, and yet I've spent so little time actually reading. I'm so sorry for that. If you're just here to have me shut up and read. What are you doing, Head Librarian Michel? Who are those people? And why are you attacking your own family? What's wrong with you? My own family? If you assume people from the same family are automatically on the same side, then you're way behind the times. What our father hopes to achieve with this war is to create a rupture. We see Proust. What? Sorry, just his posture. This dude's posture on the masked up dugong is hilarious. Also, the fact that it is just a dugong, it just has this crazy mask to make it look badass. Oh my god, that's so funny. Alright, we see some of the random Povedals then. What are Kidian's forces doing? He's cutting down. Why are they attacking our troops? What's going on over there? We have Yama. Haven't seen him in forever. Those people just appeared out of nowhere and started attacking them. Are they in the float carrier with the 3 red eyes on our side? No, those warriors are from Kidian's unit who just appeared. Those warriors from Kidian's unit who just appeared aren't trying to help us. What? And there's no way that symbol with the 3 red eyes is real. So Hard and the other 10 great family heads agreed to not get involved in the war. Then who the hell are they? I'm not sure. Those are Kidian's forces. They're back. And we have Dewan. I'm sure of it. I need to capture their leader. Hey, you can't just break rank whenever you feel like it. We have Kadede. Stay within range of the branch leader's lighthouse. Then I'll find out who's really behind this war. We have Dewan cutting through them. Who are you people? Hey, come back, it's too dangerous. Why have you brought a war into this tower? Over there. See some more of these. Okay. This upskirt Dewan shot reminds me of, I think it was the week before last, when we had like 2 just straight up bottom to like straight looking up, directly up, like upskirt shots of Traumeré the week before last. I was like, that's an odd angle to choose. I bet that's where their leader is. We have some blue lightning. Is this going to be the wannabe Kunedwan? Because we have Kidian's the wannabe Traumeré. We don't know really if Belarir is the wannabe Gastang or not. The boss is presumably the wannabe Zahard. So is this going to be wannabe Edwan? They have blue hair and lightning. This could be a cool fight for Dewan. If this is what it turns into. Okay, maybe Dewan just gets sniped. Okay, this is sick. We have Yama, Doom, and Lobodam reacting. Dewan. She got pretty messed up. And Fluffy Hat Guy is getting knocked, or Fluffy Hat Guy is just, getting the outskirts of the shockwave of Cha knocking this other guy away. Cha, can you hear me? Cha, what is it, Doom? Ah, damn it, I'm not sure how to put this. I think Dewan is in mortal danger. Then we have Cha's reaction. What? We still know nothing about Fluffy Hat Guy. And we have these guys getting just absolutely sent flying by Cha. Even if it's to help the Slayer candidate, I don't like the idea of working with Lopobia's army. I feel the same way, but I've already made up my mind. Again, God, I wish we had been getting this for months, here and there, just a little bit, some of these other characters. I'm not interested in siding with anyone. I just want to put a stop to this war. Think of all those years we were asleep for. Hang in there a little longer, Dewan. The thought of people still fighting each other even after all that time is too painful to bear. And Fluffy Hat Guy is casting spells. He's got some kind of magic circle going on, full wand and all. Get out of my way. We have a punch into an explosion of blood. That looks like, scale-wise, that looks massive. He might have just... So Fluffy Hat Guy does not get an official name. He just gets liquefied by Cha. Potentially. I'll do whatever it takes to save her, damn it. Doom is... I love how it feels like in the nest, people were like, wow, it feels like Karaka already has a deeper relationship to Duan than Cha. And now Doom is here, and it's like, okay, Doom apparently is a very caring man. We can't afford to lose a high ranker like this. I mean, he is right. You like having a high ranker on your side in Ancient Warrior is extremely valuable. But the sort of the emotionally charged language is just a bit funny, considering, you know, it's Doom, things he said or done in the past. While Yama's fighting the enemy, I'll see what I can do. Huh? We have a warp gate. And is that like a spacesuit? What the? Who's that? It is a spacesuit. We have an astronaut. We have a 13. Splat. Still the crackling lightning. We're cutting back to Yama, dodging through attacks. I'm not a huge fan of these like multiple shots of the character doing things panels. I don't know. I think, again, smaller, less long panels. Things looked way better when we did that. This is just a bunch of long scrolling, and it really doesn't provide us that much visual information. Not a fan of these. That tickles. You must be pretty pissed, huh? Does that woman mean that much to you? That prick. We have lightning coming in. Like, it would seem so. Like, to these people who have no idea what's going on with our characters that we already know, they're probably like, wow, they must care so much about each other. Not that they just met each other like a few days ago. I thought I dodged those lightning bolts, but they're coming back. He gets hit. Yama, what do you want? I'm busy. I don't mean to surprise you, but I need to tell you something. What else could possibly surprise me right now? Your brother Doom ran into an unidentified enemy on his way back to the ship, and the enemy killed him. Do we get to see it? Is Doom really dead? Ha ha ha. Pathetic. I can't believe how weak these losers are, and we have the Daijang. Don't you agree, Commander? Oh! Is this potentially why there are multiple Daijang? Because maybe they all have been calling themselves that? Maybe not. Don't get cocky. Okay, this was somebody talking... Okay, don't you agree, Commander? So this is somebody talking to the Daijang? Alright, don't get too cocky. We just managed to catch them off guard for a moment. It's weird, though, because the one bubble up here is really coming from the character, not from the pocket. Don't get cocky. We just managed to catch them off guard for a moment. While both families are scrambling to make sense of what happened, this is our chance. It looks like the ship is charging up a beam. We'll take out both sides. And we have Pokoko. Incoming attack. Preparing the shield. Block it. Presumably it's going to burst right through. Is that cannon fire? We see it tearing straight past Michelle, who's still posing. Man, we're barely into this chapter, too. The shield is cracking under the attack. And it splits through. The turtle gets gored. Pokoko is struggling, screaming. Pokoko is getting messed up. His legs. Now we have Yama here. We're under attack from an unidentified enemy ship. We've lost a branch leader. So does that mean Pokoko's dead? Again, you know, we have the violence warning. Just make it clearer. Pokoko may or may not be dead. Doom, I think, is probably a fake out death, and Doom's going to come in for some sneak attack or something later. Because remember, Doom had his head, like a hole blown through his head before, and he was like, oh yeah, so long as my heart is fine, the rest of my body can regenerate. So unless they destroyed Doom's heart, then Doom can just regenerate his body. Presumably. The ship's right wing and numerous Beastkin transport ships have been destroyed. Rip to the Beastkin Yama was trying to protect this whole time. This is why you shouldn't have brought them. We're seeing Doman falling. Doom's fine. Look at him. Oh, they killed him. Whoever reported that, terrible job. Terrible job reporting. It's difficult to even calculate the extent of the damage. We have the shell keychain breaking apart. So presumably Pakoko might be dead. I definitely think CU would kill off Pakoko because the branch leaders have been treated horribly. All units spread out and prepare to attack the enemy ship. Sadly, I would like to be emotional at that, but CU didn't really build Pakoko into much of a character. Spread out and prepare to attack the enemy ship. Try to assess the amount of damage as well. Are there any survivors among the Beastkin and Rankers that were attacked? I don't think so, sir. The enemy attack was extremely powerful. I'm not sure where that shell came from. That was a difficult attack even for high Rankers to defend against. We still have wannabe Edwan hanging around. I'm just going to call her that for now. More Yama Super Saiyaning up. Does he really need to shout like that? It's so irritating. In any case, I'll wait for him to finish transforming. It's the polite thing to do. We have Beast Form Yama. Very cool. I like this a lot, actually. I like this form. He looks like some kind of wild beast now. This could be dangerous. Certainly not my style. Maybe I shouldn't have waited. Alright. He's rushing her. I see you haven't tasted quite enough electricity yet. That's kind of a cheesy line. Cheesy way to word it. We have a slash clashing against the electricity. You goddamn freak. But it seems like she still has the upper hand here. This bastard. He's cutting through the lightning before it even hits him. Well, aren't you clever? I didn't know there were so many interesting people to fight on the outside as well. This is going to be fun. And she creates a gun. Power. Gun. This might tingle a little. She fires with it. But Beast Yama seems to be tanking it. Yeah, and even she's being blown back by Yama's power. He's getting in close range. Looks like his hand's going in to grab hers. Shit. And then I guess she gets hit in the stomach? Slightly unclear. I'm assuming, though. It looks like repeated blows. We have an electrical plug, though. It wraps around his arm to stop him. We have somebody else with the electrical plug. Okay. Jade. But Yama pulls back. Huh? And then both are struggling. The wannabe Edwan gets thrown away, though. More long panels. Yama does look very cool here. Again, I feel like this could have used more... Like, this is great. Don't get me wrong, this is great. But I feel like this could have used more fleshing out and building up. I think the story would have benefited a lot from if we had done a little bit of the Bam Dumas, Traumerei Gastang stuff. Like, Traumerei Gastang stuff should have taken us even longer to get here. I think before we got as deep as we did into the Traumerei Gastang stuff, we should have been throwing a little bit of this in here throughout these various chapters and stuff. That way we could build these characters and build this situation a little bit more before connecting it and wrapping it back in with the Gastang Traumerei stuff. Because this will eventually be wrapped back into that. So I think this would have been better if we had been interspersing it a bit instead of just doing this all in one chapter now. That damn freak. Oh, I'm dizzy. How about we catch this one together? I think we'll have to. Baylord Yama. Oh? You'd be the perfect pet for me. Huh? Is that Ratnagra. And we have the third female member of Revolution now. My name is Ratnagra. I was born and raised in the garbage dump. I've left the dump and come here. And she has black hair and red eyes. Is she the wannabe Yurin? To claim my place among the 10 great family heads. He reacts. So it's like, now you have Zahard and the 10 family heads, you have the 11 slayers, and you potentially have the wannabe 11 heads of Revolution. We're seeing the Hate a bit. And Kirin is still tanking attacks, it looks like. Which is impressive given that Lobadan is one-shot basically everybody else. Damn it. How is he so freaking strong? Very good shot of Kirin here. I need to pin him down. He's using the arm wrapping things again, no matter what it takes. Lobadan's charging forward. Charging up a punch. Primal punch. And it's tearing through the wrappings. And actually landing a direct hit on Kirin here. Gah. Do you really think you're worthy of replacing our father? You can barely even keep up with me. Don't make a fool of yourself. Lobadan's kind of spitting. No one in this tower can replace our father. And it looks like... Is this... No, maybe not. I was going to say no. I thought, like, it looks like somebody's burning a hole into the sprout, so I was wondering if that was, like, Bauman and Dorothy trying to make a way in, but they already had the open part. This looks like somebody else cutting a way in to the sprout, maybe. No. You're wrong. Somebody kicks through. Oh, it's a 13 again. Open your eyes, old man. You're looking at the people who are going to replace the 10 family heads. Our plan worked, and we get a better shot. So it is just a scar. We get a better shot of the Daijang here, or Daejang, and he looks way better, I think, here than in that first introduction chapter that we got when when Revolution first pulled up. I think this shot of him looks so much better, and he definitely doesn't have the mole, so we can definitely confirm he's not the one that Cha and Dawan have already met. After forcing the 2 family heads into a game, our idea was to strike at the 2 families while their leaders are fighting each other. And of course, Yul said that the boss that they typically work for, or Daejang they typically work for, isn't the Daejang that told him that Bam was an irregular. So you have to think, is this the one that told Yul that Bam was an irregular? Is this the one Yul usually works for? I don't think it is. I don't think this is the one Yul usually works for. I think this is probably the one that, well, it could be the one that told him Bam was an irregular. Or maybe there are just 3. Maybe there's the one he works for, the one that told him about Bam being an irregular. Maybe even neither of those are the same as the one that has already been met by Cha and Dawan, and maybe this guy's a 4th one, for all I know. We don't know how many of these guys they are. You're Squidward, you're Squidward. How many Squidwards do we need to know about? Then, after forcing 2 family heads into a game, our idea was to strike at the 2 families while their leaders are fighting each other. That's the best we can do for the time being. But next time we'll fight and defeat the 10 family leaders head on. Okay. Dawan, wake up. Dawan. Doom's posture, sorry. Especially like the way it doesn't fit the ground he's laying on either. Doom is just like fucking cardboarded up. Oh no, we have to save Dawan and this cardboard cutout of Doom. Damn it. I waited so long to finally be reunited with you. You can't just die like this. He screams to the sky. And then reacts to something? Ah, well, like song, Yurik is coming in finally. So this completely changes the way that this works. Also, well, Hikesong got here before FUG did, so either they moved faster, or FUG has been here, they're just like cloaked up and hiding, and they're like, hey, we'll make our move when we need to make our move. Like, FUG maybe made it here first, and they just been watching. They just been spectating. They're going spectator mode right now. They haven't joined a team. But this changes things because also Yurik was meant to be hunting these guys. So you gotta think, this is going to be kind of our test. If the Daejang can, like, keep up with Yurik, then that kind of lends some credibility to Revolution. That lends the most amount of credibility possible to Revolution. You must be the people that Baek told us. Baek Ryun mentioned by name. Those uninvited intruders who crawled out of the darkness. And Baek figured this out. So Baek Ryun is the one who learned about this or figured this out and told Yurik to meddle in this war with thighs. I'm sending you right back to the garbage dump you came from. We have Daejang looking over at him. At that moment, everyone on the battlefield could sense it. They were in the presence of a deadly warrior. A warrior with absolute power. Yurik takes the field. We see the ship one. Again, I love the ship designs. We see the Revolution main ship, the Kirin main ship, and the ship Wan Ryu. What a mess. And that's where we end. Incredible. That's one of the best chapters we have had in a long time. I mean, I did have some criticisms here and there, but they weren't really so much for this chapter, so much as they were for, like, the grander, the wider story, as things have been. Let me throw up the credits for you. Because, like, things like, oh yeah, this chapter was good, but it could have been even better if we built more, we spaced this out a little, that kind of thing. So it's not really that this chapter was bad or inadequate, just that there are ways that I see that it could have been even better than it was. But really, I think it was incredible. And also, another reason I hesitate to say, oh, best we've had in a long, long time, is like, some of these chapters with Traumerei and Gastang have been really good. Like, Traumerei and Gastang as characters have been written so, so well, that some of those chapters have been very good. Don't get me, this is what I've been saying about this arc, like, all year, maybe? How long have we been here? We've been here, like, 41 chapters, because the arc started at, like, the beginning of the 600s. So we've been here nearly a year, and that's kind of what this arc has been. That ever since getting done with the Mizuno and Mircea fight, which was incredible, ever since then it's like we don't know what we're getting. We will get one of arguably the best chapters in the series. We'll get, or at least a very, very, very good chapter. Or sometimes we could get some of the, I think this arc, if I were to go through and try to figure out the worst and best chapters of the series, this arc probably, if I were to say top 5 worst chapters of the series, this arc might have all 5 of them. This arc has some real stinker chapters. Some, like, really bad chapters. So it's like you have the incredibly good, and sometimes, like, the Amazu flashback spans of incredibly good, and then you have incredibly bad. And I think even in the incredibly bad, I've always tried to find, and I've been able to find some, like, good things to praise here and there, but there are, like, some of these chapters, like, there are probably some of the Bam and Dumas chapters I could go back to and probably find it very hard to find things to praise. But yeah, either way, overall story still, I think, needs some work, but I think this is a good start. Again, I think some of the things could have been better. Would it have been nice if we built up Pakoko, so that the death means something? That'd probably be good. Would it be best to build up these characters instead of throwing them in and immediately having as much of the fight with Yama as we did? Should that fight with Yama have been split up a little bit more? Maybe. Are we actually going to stick with this? I really hope we stick with this in the sense of this is meaning something. And we don't need to do too much with this, because at the end of the day, the family heads still are the main event. And also, this could just be just to introduce Revolution. Revolution comes in, they cause a mess, they cause a war between 2 of the 10 families, Yurik pulls up. This could end very, very soon, because let's say Yurik pulls up and Revolution says, we're out. Revolution just, what if they say, hey, you don't like it, you can just leave? What if Revolution just leaves? And then it's like, okay, they came in, they caused their destruction, we saw a teeny bit of what they can do, and then they left. I mean, a lot of people are going to say that they look bad because of that, because it's like, okay, well, they're just running away. It may be for some fans that kind of treat Tower of God like a sport, or Dragon Ball Z or whatever, it might make them look bad. It might put them in a Karaka situation where they look bad because of a stronger opponent. But you're not really getting a stronger opponent than Yurik. So there is that. And then on the other hand, you can't have things go too far in the opposite direction, because let's say you have the Daejang just really keep up with Yurik, then people could be like, okay, well, we just had Yurik used to showcase how cool Murchia is. Is it a bit much if we just use Yurik as a break glass in case of want to make character look cool? Do we want to make this character look cool? Send in Yurik and have them do well against him. You could run into that problem if Revolution does too well, but generally, yeah. So the way I think things could go, this could just be our introduction. We might not get full fights with Wannabe Edwan, Wannabe Yurin, something Gra, the Jade, the Electric Plug, 13, Apollo 11. Whenever I see astronauts now, they don't even remind me of like actual space. They remind me of the one scene from Chainsaw Man. Whenever I see astronauts now. But yeah, we have the astronaut. Maybe astronauts want to be Tupari. We could just call them whatever we want to call them for right now. Also, I think it's very interesting lore-wise. I think it'll be cool to get deeper into how, again, these are the descendants, or maybe they're super ancient and they themselves are, like, guides who have existed since forever in the Red Dump. They are people who, again, potentially some of them are ancient, and they have been there ever since being cast there by being partisans. What was the word they used for them? I don't remember. But like political opponents of the Zahard Empire. Reformationists, is that what they called them? No, something similar to that. It was something similar to a religious term. That's probably why I was thinking of Reformationists. Something like that. Oh, fundamentalists. That's what they call them. Some of them could be the fundamentalists, and they've survived all this time. But it's so interesting how they have their own society with their own languages, how they call their leaders Zahard. Zahard is like kind of the word for leader for them. But also, what does that mean for the Daejang? Because if this guy is one of the Daejang, how many are there? Do they all look like Zahard? Why are there so many Zahard clones? Very cool stuff. Belarir is even more interesting now. What is Belarir's real full backstory gonna be? I actually think Belarir is one of the more interesting characters. I mentioned Belar Enkidu being weirdly compelling, but like, Enkidu has a really interesting story. Belarir's got a really interesting story brewing. I'm just so excited to see where all of that goes. So, yeah. I guess I'll end things here. There's still so much to talk about that I probably didn't even get a chance to. But I gotta make this video for you. It's like 11:30 p.m. and I probably shouldn't be staying up too late while I'm sick anyway. After this, I've gotta go do a bunch of other stuff too. So yeah. Oh well. Let's end this here. Like if you did like the video. I've got to go watch a bunch of other people's reactions. Like if you did like the video, comment down there. Tell me what you thought of this chapter, my thoughts and reaction. Thank you so much for all of your comments, by the way. I know I don't always get to answer all of them. I really should do a much better job. But again, some of you have these long, comprehensive comments that I really, really enjoy reading. But they are comprehensive, and I often don't feel like I have too much specifically to add. because they're in response to my video. So it's like, I put my thoughts out there, you put your thoughts out there, and I want to let you know I really, really appreciate them. I just don't always get the full chance to write another essay back at you. But I do still very much appreciate the comments. Subscribe for more. Tower of God, much more on the channel. Follow on Twitter if you want. If you want a link to the Discord server, it's free and open for anyone. If you would like to, help support the channel by dropping a super thanks, it's appreciated. If you'd like to help support the channel, also get your name at the end of videos. Get One Piece videos a little bit early, usually when I'm not sick. Then, gosh, honestly, I don't know. It's almost midnight. Should I just post this in the morning? Sorry, I'm getting off track. If you want those things, and if you want to help support the channel to help me to continue to make videos, hit join down below to become a member. Go to patreon.com/Haku of the Tubes, or a link will be in the description to become a patron. Thank you so much to people who are already patrons and channel members. I haven't updated this while I was sick, so I'm so sorry if I haven't added you yet. I will ideally remember tomorrow. Chosen Regular Evan Holly, thank you so much. Magical Girls, Afronono, J.A. and VD Van, Jerriton Students, David Langstaff and Folded Ghoul, Slayer Candidates, SG and Stan Cedar, and Pure Element Pate Ardial. Thank you all so much for your support. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all next time.